Okay, welcome to the Love and Thunder podcast. I'm your host, Camille Leblanc-bazinet.
And I'm Dave Lipson.
And we just went on a vacation.
We did, guys. We haven't taken a vacation in a good decade about.
Yeah.
And I think, honestly, it's not a bad thing because I think a lot of people take vacations to escape their lives. And I'm like, why feel like you need to escape your life? Why not just create the life that you love, that you don't feel the need to escape from? But easier said than done, right, Camille?
But you have a wife that wants to travel the world, and we need to cut ties to our work sometimes. We're just both very obsessive when it comes to building things, I
Probably
think.
the biggest vacation most people, or I would assume ladies, look forward to is the honeymoon. Right? Like, where are you going to honeymoon? Is the honeymoon going to be amazing? Do you remember what we did for our honeymoon?
Yes, I do.
I remember there was a military base involved. There was like a PVC pipe and some thrusters.
We thought of level 1 during our honeymoon, and I'm kind of still waiting for my honeymoon.
So yeah, we got married on like a Wednesday, and on Friday we were on a plane down to Fort Stewart in Georgia to go teach a level 1 seminar for the infantry. And I mean, there was nothing we would really rather be doing. At that point, I think we were so hot on the seminar trail, and when you were teaching these courses every week, like, you don't want to lose momentum, right? Because you're like so dialed in with your lectures and your breakout groups that we just kind of plowed right through it, so to speak. But then a few years later, Camille started feeling sad. Like, you never took me for a honeymoon.
Yeah, I think, I think that younger, especially being a professional athlete, I felt so in such a hurry and so much pressure to keep the momentum going that the idea of taking a vacation, it just didn't. I would be anxious, like taking it like a vacation, because I would have feel like I have to train somewhere.
I remember that, and that was even
it was
before we got
more
married.
Pressure to try to relax.
Yep.
Because then I would have to find like a track to do my track workout and a gym to work out, and then see if they have an open gym and the food and not getting sick.
So our vacations would be something like, let's say, hey, family wants to have us up in Maine for the week to go eat lobster and go on the water and go boat in the middle of nowhere. And the first question Cam would have would be like, okay, well, where are we going to train? Because I'm only going to go if there's a place that we can train. And in Maine, in that scenario, the gym was like 40 minutes away.
Yeah.
So we would get up and like drive 40 minutes to the gym, spend 3 hours training, drive 40 minutes back, and be able to like have dinner with the family.
I mean, we would literally wake up before anyone else wake up because we wouldn't want the family to give us pushback about training, because that's what they would do. Like, do you have to go? Or then they would be like, everyone stop, does anyone else wants to go train? And we'd be like, I just have to go get my work done, because that's the thing with, I think, being a professional athlete that people don't understand, is that training is your work, but you can't miss because you can't catch up. It's not like
So is it ever okay to take a vacation from training?
I wish I did more back then. I really did. I wish I did more, but I was I was too nervous to miss the boat, I wanted to do everything I could to be the best I could, and I didn't believe much in, what's the word, indulging. Like, I thought that, like, there's a big difference between needing a rest and indulgence, and I think a lot of people, like, they see self-care as indulgence. So it was really hard for me to... It was really hard for me to figure out that line. But fast forward.
Well, I think before we even fast forward, the lesson we learned was don't let training or nutrition take away from your vacation, because we made those mistakes and lost a lot of good, valuable, fun vacation time because both Camille and I were like just really wrapped up in our routines, and in some ways it kept us from having fun and enjoying things.
Yes.
And honestly, if we had maybe taken more time to enjoy stuff, I think it only would have made us better to have that time to decompress and get out of your normal routine and, you know, let your body and your soul and your heart just kind of heal and be happy so that you can return and operate at that high level. Because, you know, it can't always be pushing. And I'm the type of person like, you know me. I don't like to go on vacations because I love my routine.
Yes, like too much.
I love to get up at the same time and eat the same stuff.
I mean, we both like your routine, but
work on stuff, and I feel like I have control of everything that I can control so that the probability of success is as high as possible, but more so the probability of disaster is also contained. And when I take my eyes off of stuff, things usually instantly implode.
Yes, I, on my side, know that I push so hard that I need, and I learned that from, like, you know, being a professional athlete for all those years. Like, looking back, I did wish I took like a full month off after all my CrossFit game, like a full month off of just, you know, not like completely off activity, but like just doing things to literally just make my heart happy, not feeling like I would have to start performing right away. And now with the business, I feel like I need to unplug once in a while just to let my creative juice and my perspective come back in line.
I think that's a good idea, like, especially if we're thinking about people who, like, let's say you do CrossFit, right? And you're always used to the whiteboard and your score and how many reps you could get and how many rounds and how fast, that maybe for a period of time you're like, I'm not gonna even look at the clock. Or I'm not even gonna count my reps. I'm just gonna enjoy moving and have fun and work pretty hard and just not worry about that kind of stuff.
Yeah, maybe try new things. So now we're parents, and this year I've always wanted to travel my whole life, and we have a 3 years old now.
Well, we've been to a lot of places, but we've never like enjoyed the, you know what I mean? Like gone and been vacationers, you know?
I guess that's one of the big misconception when people see athletes travel all over the world, is that even though we're traveling, we're not like enjoying really the place because we're stuck in a gym training. We can't necessarily eat like the food because we're so scared to get sick or like eat something that our stomach isn't used to. And then most of the time when we're done competing, we're already back on the plane getting back home because whomever brought us there, they don't want to pay for an extra night at the hotel. They don't want to pay for an extra car for you to be able to drive around. Like sometimes I would be lucky enough that wherever I would go, they decided like, you know, to drive me around for like half of a day and visit, but we never truly had time to just relax and visit.
And there's a difference between just like being physically there and being mentally and emotionally there.
Yeah.
Like, let's say you go to the Eiffel Tower and it's this incredible, magical experience, and you're just like, okay, got to eat in 30 minutes. Where's the gym? Okay, this looks great. Good, take a picture.
Yeah,
you know?
got to be in bed in 30 minutes. I'm competing tomorrow.
We do a lot of that. We're like, take a picture. Good, we got it. There it is. We send a postcard.
Which is nuts. So I think that's definitely something that in my heart has been missing, is being able to do all those things that I've been like, that I like, were like, that I would like graze by.
But you know, like it's not just athletes too, because you see it happen to me a lot, and it's got nothing to do with athletics. It's like being in a business, right? Where you're like, oh, get off the fucking phone. Or stop worrying about your emails, or stop going on Instagram, or stop looking at the bank account, or stop worrying about the email campaigns, you know, because that stuff, it all takes you away. And I think you're going to honestly operate at a much higher level if you can be completely present doing what you're doing versus a little present, but also a little taken away. You kind of just ended up bastardizing all the things versus just trying to do it. So that's what we did this time, is like, let's go all in. Let's just enjoy this vacation. Where do we go?
Yes. So we did a cruise from Athens to Italy.
I've never done a cruise before.
Well, yes, once in
Oh
Europe
wait, yeah, we
with
did,
me.
No. I mean like a big
Oh
cruise
no,
ship.
that was
we did a riverboat little cruise,
which was really nice.
And it was cool. That kind of just felt like.
But
being
we
on
were
a boat.
also working when we were doing that, so that wasn't like a full real vacation.
This was like, what is it?
We did Caribbean cruise.
Royal Caribbean.
Royal Caribbean.
Royal Caribbean. So it was a huge ship. It was like 2 football fields long.
And we decided to take on that task with our 3-year-old toddler.
And go across the world on top of it. So why not just jump into the deep end like we normally do and hop on like a 15-hour plane ride with a 3-year-old and hope for the best.
And honestly, like people ask me how was my vacation, and they asked me like what was my favorite thing, and my favorite thing was solely to spend this much time with you and Zoe.
Yeah, it was
like
fun.
It was so hard with the 3-year-old. It was a much bigger task than I expected, but spending this much time with my family, like that's something that I will cherish forever, and that's not something that you can have back. Like I feel like time goes by so fast, especially now that we have her.
Yep.
And I just don't want to waste that time.
Well,
like that family time is just so precious.
My big fear with her was that she was just going to be like uncomfortable and screaming and miserable
in the plane,
like the crying babies you hear on the plane. And the truth is,
okay,
that's not how she gets.
Yeah, let everyone know what she did.
She doesn't get angry and cry and what she does is she becomes an anarchist and just starts destroying things and bullying people all around her. So first off, she's so excited to be on the plane. She's like both arms up in the air, like so fun.
So just to put the premise of this, I was trying to get Zoe ready to come on the plane. So I would like show her picture of plane, and it would be, hey Zoe, we're gonna be on the plane this Friday. They're so big, and then I would like make noise, be like where, and then like she kind of really got into plane because I wanted her to be excited to come in the plane. I might have done it a little too much because she was so excited to be on the plane, like so excited.
So when she says excited, we'll be driving into the airport and she'll see a plane and she'll grab you by the face and go, looky look at that plane, screaming.
And she'll scream until you look, and you go, wow, that's a big plane. And then she would go, so big.
It is an overreaction. But
so then we get into that first 9-hour flight.
She was pretty good until...
No, she was great in the plane. She
decided that she was tired of sitting in the seat, so she wanted to explore. And her idea of exploring is running up and down the aisles, bolting through first class and taking things from people. Just taking shit. She's just gonna take whatever you got. You got a glass? I'm gonna take it. Whatever it is. She's just taking things. The stewardesses and the flight attendants are trying to chase her around the plane. I'm trying to like trap her between bathrooms and she's going absolutely bazongas. And so what do we do to calm her down? We obviously got to give her some chocolate.
Wait, so I had a whole plan for her because so we were able to get you on another seat forward, so me and Zoe could have like 3 seats for the 2 of us. So then like I could try to lay down.
I appreciate that because they put us in the last row.
That doesn't recline.
The seat doesn't recline.
That was rough.
If you are somebody like me who has like back issues, like lower back, lumbar spine, sitting completely upright, like doesn't feel very good, this is a nightmare situation. 15 hours of being uncomfortable in a seat is like not good. And I end up paying for stuff like that for days or even weeks after. So when we got on that seat and I was like, okay, the seats don't recline, I'm just thinking, so what's the next couple of weeks gonna look like for me?
Why don't you tell people what you do with your computer?
I take my computer because these seats are constructed so terribly on airlines. If you think about the curve of your spine, right? It's an S curvature with like a curve at the top and a curve at the bottom. what the seat does is it turns you into a contact lens. It rounds, it's like rounding your back, right? So now all of the issues that people tend to have with their lower backs are just exacerbated by forcing a terrible position. Shoulders rolled forward, back rounded, pressure on the lower back the entire time. So I'll take a computer, it's a good use of an Apple computer, and I'll put it behind my back just to give myself a little lumbar support.
And you also bring your weightlifting belt.
And sometimes I'll wear my belt.
And that seems to help you a lot.
It does.
I know a lot of people have back pain, so
I got a big,
that's
like,
nice.
thick powerlifting road belt,
Yeah.
and honestly, like when we're doing like super long drives or something like that on the plane, it really helps. But you do look like a psychopath. Yeah.
But your back is safe.
Especially when you're like me, and people are already looking at me because I have a mohawk, and I usually don't wear sleeves.
So
and
what
so
else?
The weight belt just
it doesn't matter.
It completes the package.
Yes.
Right. Okay.
So what I did with Zoe to get her occupied to this flight is I bought like a bunch of little new
that's
toys.
Right. It was like 12 Days of Christmas.
Yes. And then every couple hours when she would get like
Antsy.
started to get antsy and fussy, I would like pull out a new toy.
Pull out a new toy.
And then she would be occupied for a while, get the love, get, excited with the car, whatever it was. And then I just repeated the cycle on our way there and on our way back. And that seemed to like really help with like keeping her occupied instead of just like watching movies or things like that. Because she has to move, so.
I didn't really have like an expectation of what I thought the ship was going to be like. Like I could only imagine. I know that I've seen stuff
we've never been on a big ship.
Advertisements and heard things, but I really had no idea what to expect. And I'll tell you right now, like this ship was like a floating hotel. Like it was gorgeous.
It was insane.
It had this big kind of center lobby area where there was a big dance floor and a bar, and then every floor above that was kind of like something similar as an area to kind of collect. There was a full-size theater, not like a movie theater.
No, like a real
Broadway
theater,
stage theater with dual stadium seating on multiple levels, like an upper deck and a lower deck. It had to be like a 50-foot ceiling in the cruise ship.
It was so weird because we would literally be watching them do their little show.
Yeah.
And I would start feeling sick.
Like seasick.
Because you forget,
rocking, yeah.
yes, you like would literally forget that you're on the ship, but then you're feeling the boat rocking.
We watched some shows, and one of them was like a circus show with a woman that was like hand balancing.
Yes.
And she's like a little bit older too. She looked like she's about 50. She was doing it because she's a local Italian treasure.
Yes,
who,
yes,
like moonlights on the cruise ship. And she's balancing, and I'm like, this is really hard because the boat's rocking, and she's balancing on one hand.
Yes.
That was crazy.
Okay, let's talk about, I want to cover like our tips and tricks of like what we did in our vacation. Because,
yeah, well, I think whether you're on a cruise ship or not.
Wait, let me finish my question, okay?
Well, let's just put the context here. We were on a cruise ship, but it doesn't matter if you're on a cruise ship or at a resort or in a hotel or a cabin in the woods or whatever. You could probably apply some of these principles to just what you do when you're not in your routine.
Yes. So one of the big thing, I think with me and Dave is that even though we're in a vacation, I think there's a big difference with self-care and indulgence. And for us, self-care like comes above all. And self-care doesn't mean like eating everything at the buffet for 7 days or like just eating whatever. So for us, we knew that in order to really enjoy ourselves, like we needed like both a reset kind of like physically and mental in a way that is healthy, so we come back feeling good and not feeling like slob, like we have to, lose whatever weight we gain, or you know what I mean? It's like enough of the fun, but also enough of the real self-care that we come back like refreshed and energized.
Yeah, and I'm kind of a stickler for like extreme discipline. I just think that when you indulge, it's because you want to feel good and you want that dopamine response, right? And it's a quick, easy way to get that dopamine response, but it usually kind of comes and goes pretty quickly, and then you need more, and then you need more, and you just kind of end up feeling empty. Like you didn't really achieve or do anything that really makes you happy.
Yeah.
To me, discipline allows you to get that gratification process through goals, feeling like, I guess what I'm saying is, what makes me feel really good is feeling like I'm getting somewhere.
Yeah.
Right? Feeling like, okay, like I'm able to move closer to my goals or achieve these things, and each day is like a little check mark or a contest to try to compete in, right? To see like, can you win the day?
Yes, so let's talk about how we halfway did that in vacation.
We
so
have
we
to
track.
define success before you can say if you won or lost. You have to define what success was.
So our goal each day was to, because on the cruise, the really cool thing, and this is why I love this so much, is every day you're in a new place. So every day we wanted to one of our goals was to obviously visit the place and to taste the culture. Like we absolutely wanted to eat the really good food from each place. So that was the goal during our vacation.
So I think for me, it was to be able to enjoy stuff and do some activities, whether that be like eating food or going swimming or on the boat or to the beaches or explore the towns and spend really good quality time with you and Zoe. And two, to not get sick, because when it comes to food, I get sick really easily, especially since my body is so tuned into eating a very specific diet. And then the final one was to just, and pretty simple, to move enough during the day in one way or another to feel good and to feel energized. Because if I don't do anything, I just feel lethargic and shitty.
Yes, Simon, I hate that. So we had a little bit of a different schedule. I woke up early before you guys did, and I went to do 30 to 45 minutes of cardio or depletion workout.
There was a gym on the ship too.
Which was great.
It's not bad at all.
Which was great.
They had some machines, they had some cardio equipment and a couple dumbbells, but that is enough, whether that's in your hotel or at your resort or on the boat you're on, that's enough to still do pretty comprehensive workouts.
Yes, so I woke up before you guys did. I did some sort of cardio, weightlifting, light CrossFit workout, fasted. And then I would drink a coffee with protein in it, or I would do breakfast with egg white and a bunch of vegetables. And then we would go visit an island, and then I would have this huge lunch.
Yeah.
This huge lunch.
The food is so good there.
It's so good.
Yeah.
So I would try to push I wouldn't really have any carbs outside vegetables and lean protein in the morning, and then have this huge lunch, and then we would come back and then we would do some activity on the boat, and then I would have a small dinner a lean protein and vegetables. And that allowed me to really enjoy the culture and the food. And because it was lunchtime, I would and we kept moving, that didn't stay in my stomach for the whole day. And I pretty much did that the whole time we were there.
The thing about Zoe is she's just like me in that she hates being alone.
Yes.
I hate being alone, and she always wants someone just to be there, to be her buddy, to be giving her attention and playing with. So going to the gym with her is really hard, let alone the fact that in this gym, despite the fact that we broke the rules.
Yeah, we weren't supposed to bring a baby.
Usually kids of this age are not even allowed in the gym. And we would try to bring her in there and give her a cartoon, but very shortly after, she would literally just be throwing weights on the ground and emulating what mommy's doing or jumping. I'm doing push-ups and she's jumping on my back and smashing my face. And it's obviously this is not really gonna happen. So the way that we tried to deal with that was, one, setting a realistic expectation that these are not gonna be full regular workouts. This is gonna be hey, get in there, do what you can in 30 minutes.
And get out.
And that's plenty. And then we would separate where Cam would go and work out. I would be with Zoe. And then when they were taking a nap, I'd go sneak out. But like just enough to feel good and not kind of trying to continue whatever intensive stuff we were doing before. Cam didn't even eat breakfast, but I think, like, if I'm being honest, that cruise ship was very revealing when it comes to
what people do on the cruise.
What's going on in America.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was surprised, like all different types. Like there looked like there were some successful, wealthy people on this cruise. They looked like there was a lot of working class people on this cruise. There were, you know, fit people, not a lot of them. There was a lot of unfit people, and we were able to find, I think on the cruise, there was like one or two CrossFitters who both all come up to Camille and want a picture. But for the most part, like you can just see that like fitness and training is just not a thing. And when we would go into the cafeteria, because there were like restaurants in there that you would pay to eat at, but most people would just go to like the all-you-can-eat cafeteria buffet that's included in the cruise.
Yeah.
And it was a fucking bloodbath. It was like, I'm like, what is going on here? People with like just 2 plates piled with crap.
Yeah,
on
every
both
meal
of
for
them,
like 7 days.
being like, how much garbage can I possibly shovel into my face? And like the options, again, like this is no fault of Royal Caribbean Cruises. They're giving people what they want, but the options overwhelmingly were unhealthy food options. You know, the fried chicken, the, you know, breads and pastas, and, you know, just like the fast foods. It was all stuff that, you know, if you were going to eat it and you were following any kind of guidelines, you wouldn't be able to have very much before you'd be blowing out your macronutrients.
Well, so say what you stuck to, and I'll say what I stuck to.
So, like, you have to be...
Just tell them exactly what you ate. You ate the same thing the whole time.
Yes. So what I recommend is go into a situation like that with the expectation that most of the things you're not going to be able to eat. Right? Immediately they're like, okay, I have to worry. The options too can overwhelm you.
I mean, you could eat anything.
Yeah.
Like honestly, you could eat anything, but if you're trying to
meet, like stay on track or not feel shitty or have a big backstep or regression, I would say spend your bullets where they're valuable. Like go eat some really good, awesome local food.
Yeah, wherever
but
you're
don't
visiting.
like blow it in the cafeteria. And
that's definitely how I felt. That there was no point.
The other thing about these buffet situations is that they are a breeding ground for disease and also for like food poisoning. Because like the food is just sitting out there.
You're being very intense with your little hypochondria right now.
Okay, but in the meantime,
but like, the food is sitting out for sure. You got
thousands of people around the same salad bar.
So go first
during flu season.
Go first.
So what I would do is I would just identify like what is clean enough to eat that's not going to upset my stomach. For me, for breakfast, it's just like okay, hard-boiled eggs. Right, that's always been pretty good. They had actually some really nice smoked lox that I could eat every morning. Go to the salad bar, and I would even probably avoid the lettuce because the lettuce tends to accumulate things like salmonella in it. But we went to the cucumbers, right? So the cucumbers, I grabbed a bunch of cucumbers, some carrots, and then they had really good fruit. So you go and they had like pineapple slices. And imagine if you ate as much as you could of those things, you're still fine.
Yeah.
Right? Like you're not gonna make yourself totally sick. Let's say you decide you're gonna eat 6 eggs and a half a pound of lox. Like, okay, well, you're not
unless you put the eggs with mayonnaise, now people are gonna eat 24 and be okay.
Stay away from the sauces, you know, stay away from the soda drinks there. We would just go take water and we would do something like ice water with like, I put a splash of like orange juice in it or a splash of fruit punch just to give it a little flavor. But that makes it a lot easier for most people to drink water, honestly, is just having a little flavor in it.
And then at night you would do rice, steak, and veggies.
Yeah, so I mean, if we ate there at night, but at nighttime they had a bunch of different kinds of meats and meals and things, I would look for the plainest stuff I could find, which was these steak fillets. And be like, okay, steak fillet, rice, veggie, done. You don't need 10,000 things on your plate, okay? You're gonna be better off with like 3 or maybe 4 clean, plain ingredients. But then, in terms of moderation, like pick things that if you wanted to go nuts and you're just, I'm really hungry, I'm gonna eat a ton of this, you're still good.
Yeah.
Because that food's not gonna hurt you. What's gonna hurt you is like the cookie bar.
It's like eating a small dinner and then, because you're trying not to eat too much, and then eat like one of every single dessert they have.
Yes.
Yeah, so what I did on my side, because I really have a sweet tooth, I would just like make like this huge bowl of all the veggies they had with like lean protein, and I would just like fill up on that.
I think it's important to feel...
But you guys have to understand, I ate like dessert during the day, during my lunchtime where we were visiting. So I'm like good on that side. It's just that I don't have to eat more, even though like part of me would want to. It's like kind of just assessing, like talking in my head about my future self and being like, well, if I eat this is gonna hurt me. So let's not even go there, because I know my brain's gonna be foggy. I'm not gonna feel good tomorrow. I'm gonna be nauseous. So thinking about the future me is super important.
So I know Camille probably better than anyone else in the world. And Camille's vicious cycle is, I eat to feel good, but then
it made me feel
then
bad.
That food makes me feel bad. so I eat more. And it's this like self-feeding loop. Now, I don't think that is exclusive to Camille. I think there are a lot of people out there that do the same things. And usually it's the snackers, right? The people who are like, I can't wait between meals, or, you're rummaging through the cabinets late at night. And I think when you're on vacation, or even in your daily life, it's important to feel like you have the opportunity every once in a while to indulge, but you have to give yourself parameters so you don't follow into that loop.
Well, I think that circle for me, what I've noticed that really helps me, that is very important, is that I do have 3 meals a day.
Yep.
Like I do have 3 meals per day that are gonna be real sit-down meals. Otherwise, I snack all day. And then it's like a little bit of chocolate here, a little bit of chocolate there. It like becomes a lot at the end of the day. But if I sit down for 3 meals, it just feels like my nutrients been met, like my calorie intake's been met, and I am like, my blood sugar is level. But the little snacking here and there, that like, I think that just sometimes leads me to like maybe go a little hypoglycemic sometimes, and it's not even this will thing. It's like literally my body just craves something so much, or my cortisol go up, or if I'm stressed, I want to snack. So I just need to have that routine well put in to like really control my blood sugar, and then I just feel good.
I think there are so many ways to do it. Like you could do something where you have a window, right? Let's say you're like, okay, in this 2-hour window, I do whatever the fuck I want, but outside that window, I'm super strict. And we do that with athletes.
But that was the lunch in our vacation, which was great.
Getting ready to go on stage,
Yeah.
where once a week we'll give them a 2-hour window for a free
Do what
meal.
you want.
Now, granted, there are some parameters where you don't want, like you want to have.
I
the
had
right
no
kind of-
parameters when I did my
We
show.
tell them it should kind of be like Thanksgiving dinner once a week, because they're so depleted that it helps refill their glycogen
I would literally
stores.
eat pie
And just
until I
mentally and
puke, yeah.
physically, it just kind of replenishes them. But you could do it that way. You could do it the kind of thing like, one of our colleagues, E.C. Sinkowski, has a challenge she does called the 800-gram challenge. And what this challenge, the premise of it is, you need to eat 800 grams in weight of fruits and vegetables a day. It could be anything. It could be fruit, it could be bananas, it could be apples, it could be cabbage, it could be spinach or whatever. But just imagine it's about 8 cups worth of stuff in a day usually. That alone pushes out so many bad choices, because that food's going to take up so much space on your plate. It's going to take so much space in your stomach that there's not going to be that much more room to go crazy on candy bars after eating all that fruit and
I
vegetable.
also just think like when you eat a real meal before eating the other stuff, So I've been like doing this a lot with myself because I've always had a really hard relationship with food, like since forever. That's like my scapegoat when things go bad or well. Like I turn to food, which is not good, and I've always known that. But I like classify food now as, does this like elevate me or does this bring me down? And when you have like a real meal, it really elevates you, like a meal. And when I say a real meal, I'm talking about a meal that is made with like just really good ingredient, like simple ingredient, like good food, like with my protein. And it's not like, filled with sauce or like filled with, carbs or sugar. Like I'm talking about a nice salad with chicken, with a homemade dressing. And every time I eat that,
you got like hearty food.
Inside, it elevates me. Like I can just feel it. Like
you're nourishing your body.
Yes.
Yeah.
And even if
you're not giving it poison.
And if I like eat, like for example, a cookie after, even though the cookie tastes good, you can also feel like it's kind of dragging you down. Like your brain gets foggy right away. So I just think that for me, starting with the real meal first, feel it elevate yourself. It just like, it really has been helping me to stay like wanting to go on that side.
So, I think I could make the statement that comparatively, Americans are fat. Okay, they're fat, they're overweight, they're obese. Mm-hmm. You could definitely see that on the cruise ship because when we would go to these local towns in Europe, in Greece and Italy, there were not as many obese people. And
no, that was very.
They're drinking alcohol. They're smoking cigarettes.
Yeah, they were drinking.
They're eating prosciutto. They're having biscotti and what is the fucking croissants and having espresso all day. So what gives? Like, why is it so different? If you put the pieces together, it starts to make sense. Okay.
Yeah, that was one of our big conversation when we were there because it was like, okay, literally we would start walking at 8 a.m. and we would see people sitting, drinking wine, eating a croissant, and smoking a cigarette.
Well,
but they all look healthy. They might not be inside, but at least they're not overweight. So it's very surprising.
I think there's a lot more to it than meets the eye, right? Because at a face level, you'd be like, this person's doing unhealthy things. Why is it that they're not suffering when this group of people who's kind of doing the same stuff looks so much different? Mm-hmm. Number one, most people are walking around or riding bikes the whole day. There's not a lot of cars. The streets are super small. It's just like it's more common just to be walking and moving through the day versus getting in your car and driving to one place and then sitting. And so I think that's another big one. The other thing is, if you think about the way that these people eat, they're usually not sitting down for 3 big meals.
Yeah.
They don't really eat much in the morning. They must be like hungover in the morning.
Yeah, almost no one eat breakfast, it seems like.
They don't really eat breakfast.
They had no breakfast place.
Breakfast is like a crepe and a cigarette.
Which is what, almost nothing. Air.
Yeah, exactly. There's like a little bit of this.
It's air and a side of
and a shot of espresso. And then lunch is a little salad and some prosciutto and glass of wine. And then dinner is actually, they'll serve you a really nice, good meal. But even the quality of the food.
But even the dinner, that's the thing. The quality of the food is
so
just
much
insane.
Different.
Nothing is transformed. Everything. The list of ingredients, for example, in a salad is literally what you can see with your eyes. They don't even put dressing on it. It's delicious.
At these places, if you go to your local farmer's market, for instance.
You're
getting locally sourced grown vegetables. They just taste fresher. They taste different. For me, I've got gut issues. You know that in America, I cannot eat bread. If I eat bread, my stomach gets really messed up. In Europe, when I eat the bread, I'm totally fine. Yeah. I can have tons of bread. It's not an issue at all. I don't know, maybe it's the strain of wheat, maybe it's the pesticides they're putting on the wheat. Who knows? Maybe it's the process by which it's made. Maybe it's the things that they're not adding into it. But there's a big difference there. The vegetables are so tasty. They're so good that you don't even need to put dressing on them.
Yeah.
Right?
All right, finish with one thing.
One thing about what?
I don't know, just finish with one thing.
Okay, so I guess
to finish this podcast,
to synopsize the whole thing,
Have a plan.
Yeah, like, you know, you...
Or decide where to spend your bullet.
Everyone listening to this podcast probably has an investment in their health and fitness. You know, like, you guys are doing your burpees and you're trying to eat paleo and you're getting your lifting in and you're listening to all the information and all the good stuff. What I think the big lesson is to, whatever the situation is, whether you're going really hard or you're on vacation, have a baseline that you know you can always live at, right? Like something you can always gravitate to know, like, whatever's happening, this is what I do, right? Whether that be your morning routine or giving yourself that window for eating or whatever it is, just have some basic rules and framework, because when there are no rules and there are only options, usually you choose the wrong one.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
So you have to have that kind of framework or that tentative roadmap to work off of, so that even if you slightly stray off of it, you're still in line, right?
Yeah.
You're not going to go off the map and have to spend the next month trying to recover from your vacation. It's just like with a lot of my fat loss athletes.
Okay, no, that was it. You were finishing.
No, that's the
we
only
were
story.
finishing with that. No, we were finishing with that.
We're
We
not
were finishing
finished.
with
We're
that.
gonna keep talking.
The podcast is over. Thank you for listening in. Ask us question. We'll talk about other stuff next time. Thanks for listening.